Welcome to Bradford and Brooks with your host, Margie Bradford and Jim Brooks, live on WBRT here in downtown Bardstown. The show is sponsored by Springview Hospital in Lebanon. Thank you for listening to 97.1 FM, 1320 AM, and 94.9 FM in Lebanon. Bradford and Brooks, a civil discourse of discussion where community involvement is encouraged. Bradford and Brooks is on.
Good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County, and welcome to another edition of Bradford and Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you this morning. Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Jim. Well,
we've got a absolutely beautiful Wednesday morning looking at us from the South 3rd Street studio windows here. It certainly was a pleasant drive-in.
It's gorgeous, and if there's some way that you can order this to keep happening, well, go at it, because I'm ready for more of this stuff.
Well, I think we've got several days of it coming, but I don't have the right pull to have days like this on demand, I'm afraid.
Well, me either, but it's worth a shot, Jim. It's worth a shot.
Now, I've heard some pastors take credit for the weather sometimes, that they prayed real hard and it happened, especially when there's a weekend of a church picnic. So, anyway.
Well, why not? Somebody needs credit.
Right. All right. Well, Margie, you came up with the idea of bringing in our guest today. With all the news in the last going on 3 weeks now, Heaven Hill workers have been on strike. And if you've been up and down Louisville Road, if you've been out Bloomfield Road, Loretta Road, Gilkey Run, you've seen the workers on strike out there. And as our guest today, we've got Matt
Aubrey.
Matt Aubrey, who's president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 23D. They're the union that represents the Heaven Hill employees. And good morning, Matt.
Morning.
Well, I don't know if there's an answer to this, but how long has 23D represented employees with Heaven Hill, or even some of the other distilleries?
That I'm not sure of.
Well, let's just say the union has represented a number of companies, workers at a number of companies here for a very long time.
Right.
Because I can remember being as a kid, and both Heaven Hill and Barton's both were represented by 23D.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, it's a pretty sizable workforce, and you don't hear a lot about unions until contract negotiations come up. The employees do have the benefit of union representation, and of course the contract that the union and the company agree to really is the guiding instrument for how workers are compensated, how they're treated. Just so many important things are in that contract, and as long as everything falls in place, everything runs without a hitch. But the company's negotiations with the union folks kind of hit a stalemate late in August, and the union voted to go on strike. Well, Matt, tell us a little bit about the union and what are really the core issues that have come up and between what the company is offering and what the employees are asking for.
The biggest concerns for the reason of the strike is the non-traditional schedule, an unwanted weekend schedule, and taking away their overtime. That's two of the biggest concerns right now. The union side of it, as always, we always want to make sure all these workers are protected during the time. Make sure their health insurance plan is very well in place so they can be treated in case anything happens. Just The biggest, that 96.1% strike vote came to the non-traditional, traditional schedule. It was very vague when it comes to the language of it. And the weekend, the overtime, no overtime till after 40 hours.
How many people do you represent?
At Heaven Hill?
Well,
all in all?
All in all, and at Heaven Hill.
Between 950 and almost 1,000 people.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and Heaven Hill has 467 alone.
Okay.
Well, Matt, and I guess what has really, it's not surprising, but around the county, I see more and more signs in support of the strikers. And I think everybody understands the issues here, the non-traditional, forcing your employees to work weekends. And now, times have changed and there's new demands, but something tells me there's a way to have weekend work without forcing it on everybody.
Right.
It's, they do it in healthcare, they do it in so many other different sectors of the economy.
Right.
They, without ruining everybody's work week. And I will tell you, I've working for newspapers, working in a daily newspaper, it's primarily a second shift job. And my days off were always through the week. And I will tell you that when I had small kids, if my wife didn't bring them up to me at lunch, when I had supper, or the little bit of time I had with them through the week, it just wasn't the same. And it wasn't a good family-friendly schedule, which is exactly why I left that job. And I think that asking your employees to accept that when they traditionally, and I think this is fairly common, the distilleries in this area have almost always worked Monday through Friday. But to ask for a big change like that when that hasn't been the case, I think that's asking. I understand that the changing nature of production and those needs, but I think there's a way to accomplish that without requiring everybody to work that sort of schedule.
Right, and with the bourbon industry, as we all know, it's booming. It's expanding like crazy. With Heaven Hill, they plan on running liquid 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But this traditional schedule with these workers that are in it right now, they've always just had that Monday through Friday. And, production needs, they do work overtime. For instance, during COVID, they work 7 days a week and nonstop hours because, your hand sanitizer and getting the bourbon on the shelves. We try to propose to the company of a weekend shift that would only affect your newborns. That way, those that are in it right now, that situation would be executed. Unless they voluntarily or they took a rated position on that weekend crew, that would be the only way. It was very vague. So you have these people who have been there for a very long time who had the course of being home with their family on the weekends, just spending time with them when, they're able to now and possibly that family time's taken away.
Right.
And, if you drive by Heaven Hill, you'll see family and tradition on the banners as you drive by. And a lot of these people wouldn't have family or tradition time with them. So it's a major red flag to us to make sure they're safe. And then, and the ones, we call them newborns, haven't been hired yet. Once they took on that weekend schedule, they know what they're getting into.
Right.
So we just wish the company was more in black and white paper, set in stone.
Right.
And it seems a little counterproductive for a company who, in this time, right now, companies are having a hard time getting experienced workers.
Right.
And attracting the kind of workers that they need. It seems it's be a little counterproductive for that company now to take away something which the workers already had, instead of offering something that's something else that maybe another company doesn't, in order to attract workers. It just seems for a company that's a little counterproductive.
Yes, and these these type of jobs in these distilleries and the warehouses, I mean, it takes a while to learn it.
Oh, yeah.
You can't come off the street and automatically. I work in the warehouses at another company, and working at Ricker or cutting them barrels and them ricks. I mean, it's safety. Them barrels can kill you in a heartbeat.
Right.
So it just takes time and experience, and it takes those that are already there before you to train you on those.
Right.
I think now it's so quick to get people in just to have a number there to get the product out that. The concern anymore is not really about a good product or being safe.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just trying to get
just-
part of as much of the market as they can.
Right.
Well, Matt, I think, and I think we talked about this before the show. Heaven Hill is touted as a family-owned company, and it is, but they don't seem to be very family-oriented as far as this contract, and the company has really worked. It seems like, and this is on the outside looking in, to really make it hard on the striking employees, and really gone out of their way. And it seems like we're looking at a completely different company. That's trying to, the Heaven Hill employees that I know have been fiercely loyal to the company, and I think we saw that during COVID when they worked 7 days a week making hand sanitizer.
Right.
There's the need, and they jumped on it. This contract, the proposed contract, the first one, doesn't seem to be a way to reward your employees for such dedication and years of service.
Right. During COVID, the 7 days a week and the countless hours. I mean, at the very beginning, we didn't know what COVID was.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know how to treat it. We didn't know how to stay away from it. But these workers, I mean, they went in there every day with the risk of not only themselves but other co-workers, and then taking it home.
Right.
And rather than the company being understanding and want to show appreciation when it come contract time, they, instead of showing their loyalty of a family-owned business, they want to start taking things away and implementing other stuff. So that's another concern that a lot of the workers has. We've been in here countless hours. We're putting our health at risk, and they still are. Mm-hmm. And for the company not to show that value and appreciation, and just say, well, instead of this, we're going to pull this to where
Didn't, in earlier conversations with you, didn't you indicate that the company had pulled the health insurance away from all workers, including even retired people?
Yes, ma'am. They went on strike on midnight September 11th. I believe Monday morning they received a letter from the company saying their insurance had been expired.
And those premiums had been paid through the end of the month, is that right?
Yes, sir. They had been paid. And also...
so they were canceling even what had been paid?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So, and even with the retirees who are concrete in that clause to where they're protected with the insurance, regardless of a strike or anything, they also receive letters.
Now, I'm assuming that the company, after the contract expires, then any provisions the company can violate, apparently because there's nothing in place.
Right.
Okay, well, but that's no way to do business.
No, not at all.
No. Especially with your retirees, and that I heard that, and I just couldn't believe it.
Right, and right now they have a pregnant female. She's a worker. She's in the hospital right now with COVID while she's pregnant. So I mean, I don't understand. I don't think they actually. I don't know if they looked at it or thought about it, but it's just for them to cutthroat the insurance like that. It's not something you do professionally.
It doesn't sound like a family-owned company, does
not
it?
at all. Not
Well,
at all.
obviously they're trying to make it as difficult on the striking workers, but and I'm not going to name the company, but I know at least one bourbon company has made it well known that they would welcome any Heaven Hill employees that wanted to switch to another company.
Right. Well, we've had a few. They're at another bourbon facility right now. Working temporarily. Mm-hmm. That way they can make income during the week during the strike. Sure. So yeah, the bourbon community as a whole, they've been a big help to these workers during the strike.
Well, haven't you had some community? You've had community support.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Small businesses have been bringing food out. making sure all the workers are taken care of with food, and porta pots have been donated, donations have been given, gift cards, the small businesses that have stood their ground with us and pulled their products off the shelves. I mean, I went to Wings and Rings the other day, first time I've ever eaten there, and I'm a big wing guy. I love hot wings, and they have probably the best hot wings I've ever eaten. But aside of that, I even noticed and looked up where all the barrelheads were, and they even took down the Heaven Hill barrelhead. So but these people in the community see it, and this group of 400 plus people, they got a strong community around them and behind them.
Well, I've had friends who have communicated to me that they are not going to serve Heaven Hill products at their holiday gatherings,
Right.
and have vowed not to ever buy from Heaven Hill again, just simply because of the way the workers have been treated.
Right.
And I have seen, and it's continued to grow since the workers went on strike, the yard signs and signs of support for the workers throughout the community. It's you don't have to just drive by one of the warehouse locations or the distillery to see that, to know about the strike. You see signs everywhere. And in fact, after the show, I've got to go out to Patrons and pick up my sign. I've got and put it out by my house. I live out by the Barrel Preserve.
Okay.
And so my wife and son both drive north, and so they, my son called me the first morning of the strike, and he said, "Daddy, there's a bunch of, I think they're on strike at Heaven Hill now." And I'm like, "Yeah, they should be." So, but anyway, that as I said before the show, I think that if you're from a public relations term, I think, or aspect, the company is losing the battle for the hearts and minds of the community, because I think people are siding with the strikers,
Right.
Especially given the dedication that the employees have shown.
Right.
And all the distillery employees who worked during the pandemic to make hand sanitizer. I mean, that was a big operation, and providing it to businesses and other areas. Right. It was a tremendous effort, and and appreciated. And I think we have I know some of the hand sanitizer we have here at the radio station came from one of the distilleries.
I seen a bottle of that one in the restroom. Right.
Yeah. But anyway, that's that's well appreciated, and anyway, the distilleries. Now, you said that on the news over the weekend, it said that Heaven Hill was planning to go back and do bargaining the first of this week. Is there any update on what may have happened or what's going on now?
Our federal mediator, he got both sides together, the union and the company. We met Monday. The union made slight movement to the company. At first, it was kind of, we started back at headbutting, but the slight movement we made, it was a good proposal. But the company, they said that they would reach back out to us later in the week. They wanted to look over everything, discuss things. But late last night, our federal mediator reached out to us, and the company canceled all meetings.
So last night they did that.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
What was in the paper was not right.
I haven't read the paper.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, of course, something that happened just last night's going to be the latest latest news.
Exactly.
So they just not interested in.
They just said, we'll let you know when we'll be able to meet again. So to me, it's just bad faith bargaining on their part. The ball's in their court. They need to show these workers something. Rather than just ignoring them or making times harder for them. The company just out of the blue, just we're done for this week. We're not going to meet.
Well, hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and even if you disagree, you need to be talking.
Right.
You need to have communication.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big believer in we can respectfully disagree.
Right.
It's all about professionalism, And I was very disappointed when I got that call last night.
Well, Margie and I respectfully disagree on lots of things.
We do.
All right.
But he keeps edging. I keep drawing
It's part of a
him
good
a
relationship,
little bit.
though.
I keep drawing him in a little bit.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We sometimes agree on a little more than I originally bargained for. All right. Well, Matt, let's take a commercial break. Okay. You're listening to Bradford and Brooks on our very special guest, Matt. I didn't write the name down. Aubrey. Matt Aubrey, president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 23D. He's with us, our guest today, talking about the Heaven Hill strike. We'll be back with more in just a few moments. Stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford and Brooks here on 1320 AM, 97.1 FM, and 94.9 FM in Lebanon and Marion County. This is the Bradford and Brooks Show. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you till the top of the hour. And then stay tuned to WBRT for the best in local news and obituaries. Our guest is Matt Aubrey, who is the president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 23D, the union that represents the Heaven Hill employees as well as employees at other companies here in Nelson County. And talking about the Heaven Hill strike and and the latest news that Matt shared with us is that he learned last night that the negotiations you heard that Heaven Hill was going to be open up on Monday apparently closed last night. The company said that they'll basically, don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, that's basically how it was.
So. And this was after the union had made some concessions
right.
and toward the company.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But hopefully, cooler heads will prevail, and there can be some sort of dialogue, even if you're disagreeing, you're talking.
Right.
Now, you mentioned a federal mediator. Mm-hmm. Is that what agency is that from? Like the IBEW? I'm not IBEW, but the I'm trying to think of the federal agency.
The FMCSA, I believe. He's the government.
Okay.
So he's from the state.
Okay.
Kentucky.
All right. Is that pretty common that you have somebody, an official, to serve as a mediator?
Yes and no. If the company and the union can't come to agreement on terms, just kind of butting heads together
right.
for a while,
right.
and then the federal mediator then steps in, and then that's when he tries to bring both parties to the side to try to get everything mixed to a level balance.
Will you, Heaven Hill, I don't know what their production is, and it's probably proprietary information, but the distilleries here in Nelson County seem to be running almost wide open.
Yes, sir.
Doing a lot of distilling, and more so probably than in years past. And I don't know how much this hurts Heaven Hill, but I think it's in both parties, both sides' best interest to come to some sort of agreement, or even just to talk.
Right.
And that's disturbing to me that the company's taking such a hard line against its employees after the sacrifices the employees making, and I don't know if the company folks are aware of it. Perhaps not those based out of Louisville, but the level of dedication and faithfulness that the employees have had over the years with the company.
Right.
And they've the employees I've ever met were always very proud of the work they do with Heaven Hill. Proud of the company and proud of their jobs, as they should be. Now, I will tell you, as a kid, many years ago, in Bardstown in Nelson County, the distillery jobs were before we got a lot of industry in here. Right. Distillery jobs were kind of the pick of they were the top of the heap.
Premium jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And if you could get on with the distillery, you had You know, I mean, that's why I think you have so many 40-year employees, you know,
Right.
and just because of the quality of the job, you know. And it really, my son worked at another distillery as a part-time help, and he had described to me that he wasn't being part-time, he was not union, but that it really seemed like everybody knew everybody, and it was a real family atmosphere.
Right.
You know, he didn't stay long enough to really become part of that, but it was unusual because he's worked at lots of places and never found camaraderie like that in a workplace.
Right.
So I think that was pretty neat.
Well, give us some examples of how the community has supported the strike and supported the workers.
And also maybe ideas that you know, what can we do, you know, to support the workers. You know, what efforts, is there anything we can do to help? Obviously, yard signs just show your support for them. But is there, you know, have any other things we can do?
Okay. A lot of the locals, the businesses, just keep boycotting. Keep showing that with your solidarity to the workers. I know there's been several that go in certain restaurants and they've had their meals paid because people realize who they are and they're taking care of them.
And they're not serving their product.
Right. They're absolutely not serving the product. So that shows that their backbone for the workers that they can trust. And you know, even when this is said and done, those workers are going to continue to go to them small-owned businesses because they know that them owners and them workers have their back just like you know, they would have, you know, Heaven Hill workers would have theirs. As for the community, just keep honking them horns. I'll be on a line with some people and there'll be 20 cars drive by and I guarantee you all 20 of them honk. You know, just keep showing that support. The signs in the yards, I'm starting to see those build up more and more.
Well, how do people get a sign? If somebody wants a sign to say, show their support.
Yes, ma'am. At the main entrance, we have a big tent. There should be some signs, shirts. I went to Bourbon Fest by myself. I just kind of walked around to see what was going on. And I've never seen so many orange shirts in one place in my life. I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, it was crazy. And a few people I stopped don't even work at Heaven Hill. They just got their hands on a shirt and showed support.
So wear an orange shirt.
Yes, ma'am. We have orange shirts at the main entrance.
What do the shirts have on them?
They just have the UFCW 23D the logo, and on the back it says "Strike on Heaven Hill." So they're very, very noticeable. You can spot them out a mile away, but it proves this point. So it's materialistically, they're pretty much taken care of. The donations and stuff they receive is absolutely, it's mind-blowing to see it. These small businesses that just donate food, just tons of food to take care of them. That's something that we will always value and cherish, especially like Mammy's Kitchen, Wings and Rings, and Lee's Chickens, and places of that sort. Those are things we'll never forget. So
my wife and I were thinking of bringing pizza out to that Barrel Preserves. Just, I mean, I can see it from my house.
Right.
Thought about bringing those guys some pizza, but you know, it's like you don't know what they already have, and if there's a need for it, I know it would be appreciated.
Right.
You know, even cold pizza is good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they've been a lot consumed.
But,
and we make sure to let them know that, you know, if you get food that day, don't let it go to waste.
Right.
Take it home to your families, or if you see someone else beside you that has kids, especially little children, give that food to them, let them eat it. Don't let it go to waste.
Right.
You know, don't throw it away. I'd rather see somebody taking it home to where they can eat.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I know that the company's plan seems to be is make it as difficult as they can on the striking employees, which I don't know, kind of flies in the face of showing their value, showing the employees you value their work and dedication.
Yes. The thing, especially with getting that call yesterday, the company needs to make a response. It's their turn. The ball's in their court, and they need to step up as a family-owned company and show these workers what they rightfully deserve. These workers do deserve right treatment. And for the company to continue doing this, I think it's putting a scar in that legacy of family tradition when it comes to Heaven Hill. Because, I talk to numerous people, and it's just a generational line of great-grandfathers, grandfathers, great-aunts, great-uncles, moms, dads, brothers, sisters. And I don't think they come to realize is that could tarnish with the way they're acting. Instead, rather than saying, hey, my son or my daughter, you're okay, you're going to follow and work here. I mean, there's a possibility where people might not want that legacy to continue just by the way this company's treating them.
Right.
So, yeah, I just, I wish Heaven Hill would step up and just make a move, because it's their turn.
Is this the first time that Heaven Hill workers have struck, or
I believe
not within recent memory anyway, for me, and that I can remember?
The last strike they went on was in 1986, I believe. So that was the last time.
Yeah.
They might have gone in the early 90s, but from what I've been hearing, 86 was the year they went on strike. So, but for being on the lines for 3 weeks, I mean, they're absolutely stronger than the first night they walked out that door. So they continue to keep doing what they're doing, and not just even locally, but nationwide. I mean, it's out there of what's taking place.
And at issue is not only the addition of weekend work, but also there are things that's capping what a person can
your
make.
Insurance, and your wages. And with the overtime, it used to be after 8 hours. Anything after 8, you would get paid your time and a half.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or Saturday time and a half, Sunday double time.
Yeah.
With them wanting to take that away until no time and a half after 40 hours, that's just increasing the company's pocket. I mean, they're making a lot of money off of that. And these guys, if they're in there 6-7 days a week working 10, 12-hour days, I mean, they rightfully deserve that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I can't, I wasn't sure that federal law would allow them to, I guess in a contract, everything's negotiable.
Right.
So you could bargain away that right for overtime after 40 hours. I certainly wouldn't vote in favor of doing that. But Ronald Reagan used to say in his negotiations, he would always shoot for the moon, and then he was always ready to take half of what he wanted, and he would usually get what he wanted because he asked for way more.
Yeah.
So maybe the company will scale back their what they're asking for, what they're offering, into something more reasonable. But and of course, all companies want to cut their costs.
Oh yeah.
But and that's but to lose overtime is not acceptable in my book. I had a text from a listener who's enjoying the conversation, and just the opinion that Heaven Hill is ruining their own legacy with this strike and the way they're treating the employees. So, and I can't disagree with that.
No, not at all.
I think in the court of public opinion, Heaven Hill's coming out on the losing end.
Oh yeah.
In public relations, there's a term called crisis management. We've seen industries like the cruise ship industry. I mean, they've really had some bad times, and you bring in specialized public relations folks to try to right that ship. To make a bad pun, but in this case, Heaven Hill's kind of doing it to themselves.
Yeah,
they're making their own bad publicity, and I think that, and it's really contingent on they're the ones that have to make the moves. But anyway, we stand with the Heaven Hill employees, and I was telling Margie that during the break that. Here I am. I'm a Republican, and yet I'm siding with the union. That's usually Democratic territory, but in this case, party affiliation doesn't matter.
Right.
It's doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's the human life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. anyway, let me see. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Got a text saying just start and you mentioned this, start a weekend shift.
Right.
And those people, if you hire people in on that, train them, and then that'll be, you can always consider them a different class and where they don't get overtime or double time on Sunday.
Right.
Because I'm sure
they sign on with that.
Yeah, they realize what they're coming into.
So it's just when you go back and penalize faithful workers who've been with you for 30 or 40 years.
Right.
That's a horse of a different color.
Right. And that was the major concern was verbally when during negotiations the corporate workers would say verbally, well, no, we understand nothing's going to happen to these people. It's going to happen to the ones that are newly hired. Mm-hmm. And we said, okay, well then put it in the proposal of language that these people are protected. And when they kind of just looked at us and shook their head, we automatically knew that, it wasn't going to take place. And, and Heaven Hill doesn't realize, and I'm a city boy, but I've seen it since the 2 years I've been out here working in Bardstown. A weekend shift, you have a lot of people who are farmers during the week, landscape owners. They like that extra money, so they would work that weekend shift, but they couldn't give an honest answer. And I'm real big on honesty, and I could see the trail lie that was going to take place.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see some of the Monday through Friday employees volunteering to signing up to work some weekends.
Right.
Especially Christmas coming on and bills to pay.
Right.
I could see that.
A chance to advance yourself a little bit to earn that extra pay.
Right. Right. Right, and starting a separate shift may take a lot of training.
Oh yeah.
For new employees, but all new employees have to have substantial training.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another suggestion was 2 10-hour shifts a day. So
these your email text you're getting. Your text you're getting.
Messages. Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to read this. Sorry. Okay, it said that this is a text from apparently a Heaven Hill employee. Said they didn't make all hand sanitizer during the pandemic. They continued production with regular bourbon.
Right. Yeah, because there was a high demand of bourbon during the pandemic. I think alcohol sales went up over 85%.
Wow.
So that's no, they didn't strictly make hand sanitizer. They made both. But.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well,
alcohol consumption went up considerably.
Right. Oh yeah.
From my understanding.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you have to replace what you have to keep enough in the pipeline because it's going to have to age for X number of years before it can be sold. So.
Well, if also thinking about the workers, if the longer Heaven Hill lingers on this, the more they risk losing experienced people.
Right. Especially with those
they'll be going to other companies.
Right, and hopefully the company realizes that because there are people right now who are going out and finding temporary work, and there is a possibility that they might not want to return just because of the way they're being treated. So, and that's another issue that gets frustrating because they know how hardworking these people are, and for them just keep making them stand out there, it's just we just don't understand it. So yeah, that's definitely that's been a question for the past week or two is will people come back? And if they don't, then how are you going to make a non-traditional schedule if you don't even have enough to make your traditional schedule? If you can't fill them spots in.
Right.
So they need to open their eyes and see that there's a whole big nucleus around there that could come effective to the company.
Do you think that the union will bring legal action against the company for cutting off insurance to retirees?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that seems to me
that's very illegal.
Very.
Yes, ma'am. They those retirees, they did their years in, they did their service, They all left good standing bargain members. They were in a set concrete clause to where their insurance were not supposed to be touched. And for the company to do that, it's very, it's aggravating.
Well, it's unnecessary pain.
Well, and
Right.
it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's disappointing for them to even fathom to do that, let alone actually take course on doing it. So it is being looked into.
The text message asked, "Why can the governor get involved?" I don't know that he wants to try to mediate, but they just mentioned he was happy to come out and cut the ribbon for the new visitor experience when it debuted. So, but I don't know. I don't know the governor gets involved in company negotiations.
I don't either.
And he's not really a mediator anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we would take all the support they have. Just when it comes to politics, we just kind of, that's one road we don't go down.
Well, it shouldn't be political. It's,
Right.
As Jim said earlier, it's about doing what's right.
That's right.
Right,
Yes,
right.
ma'am, definitely.
All right. Well, Margie, we're down to about the last 5 minutes. Matt, is there anything you want to, any final words that you'd like to share with our listening audience who may not be as well versed on the Heaven Hill strike and those issues as well we are now, but as you are,
Right.
And because you see these employees every day.
Yes. To be their president, I'm extremely proud of all of them. Even being a guy who lives in Louisville, this community I'm proud of. I'm proud of all the support and the love that they're showing to the workers. It just makes them stronger. As a community, just to keep doing what you guys are doing, stay strong with them, just keep showing that support. The workers greatly appreciate it. It builds up their character and their strength to continue doing what we need to do until they get a fair treatment. I just can't thank you guys enough as a community as a whole. I greatly appreciate everything you guys have done for everyone. The donations, the food, everything.
And tell them again where to get a sign.
There's signs at the main gate at Heaven Hill on Loretto Road. You'll see a big green and white tent. So if we need to order a few more, we will, just so we can keep the support going. And the final thing I'm going to say is Heaven Hill really needs to show their face and step up. It's like I said earlier, it's their turn. The ball's in their court. The longer they wait, the more these workers are willing to stand out on that line. They need to show their appreciation and value that they tell these workers that they have.
Well, a text message kind of sums it all up, Matt. Let the employees grow with the company. Is that too much to ask?
Right.
Yeah.
Dead on the head.
Yeah.
It's dead on the head.
All right. Our guest today has been Matt Aubrey. I'm sorry. Why didn't I write that down? Matt Aubrey, who's president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 23D, who represents the Heaven Hill Strikers. And he's been telling us about the strike and how to support the workers. And certainly when you pass by them, it's courteous to honk your support. Or better yet, stop and talk to them and bring them a cup of coffee, or just walk the picket line with them. And they're at several different sites. They're out on Bloomfield Road by those warehouses across from, it's like Big O Tire. They're out Louisville Road, out by me at the Bourbon Preserve, Warehouse Preserve on the Louisville Road, and also down on Loretto Road by the main plant, and out. I saw a group out on 245 because they have warehouses down
on Deedsville, right up the hill. Yes.
Yeah. So please, let them know you support the company. You support the workers, and if you know anybody in the company, you may tell them that it's really time to talk. It's really time to negotiate, and I think everybody would want the strike to end with amicable terms. The longer it lingers, the more animosity and hard feelings develop. Heaven Hill needs to step up and do their workers right, and the employees will respond. And they're ready to go back to work, I'm sure, under fair conditions.
Yes.
All right. Well, Margie, that's going to do it for this week's Bradford and Brooks. Matt, thank you again so much for coming in. And we'll be back with another.
WBRT Bardstown, 1320 AM. W246 AT Bardstown, 97.1 FM.
That's
and
it.
now,
We'll see you next week.
W235 DB Lebanon, 94.9 FM, Lebanon and Marion County.